Hey folks, this is GreenyXI, welcoming you right back to Let's Play Umineko. This is episode 107. In the last episode, we wrapped up, the main game. I say the main game. There's more plot in the tea party and the question marks, which are going to be coming some today. I don't know how long they're going to go on for, so we'll see. But we did this part, the main sort of section. So, I noticed something this time, which I haven't noticed before. It unlocked tea party, but not question marks, so there is a very obvious order you're meant to do it in. I never thought to check before, to be honest, if you could do these in either order. But yeah, apparently you can. Anyway, let's check out the tea party, see what is going on, because it cut off, in the story of the last episode, it cut off where Erica was losing, but she said in red, this big, I don't know, plot twist, I guess. She was the 17th person on the island. So let's see what that's all about. I don't even know if it's going back to her in that part or what. But back in the cathedral, at least. Then let the pair exchange their rings. Beto took Battler's hand and put a ring with the seal of the one-winged eagle on his finger. Are you sure? You already are the territory lord. So this ring belongs to you, Battler-san. You're really sure? At this rate, the world you created, and the tale. Yep. I created this tale because I wish to be with you. That means the purpose of this world has been fulfilled. So from now on, I want you to write it. A continuing tale of you and me. Or is doing it like that too awkward for you? I'm just pushing the tiresome task of territory lord onto you anyway. It's much easier being the wife, where you only have to brag. I just need to play around and wait for you to write a new tale. And for each new tale you write, I'll play any part you need. Be it an evil witch or a rival, a lover or a wife. My tales are pretty intense. You'll be busy from dawn until dusk. Indeed, bring it on. Beto's hand relinquished the ring of the territory lord. From Battler, she received a silver ring with a crest that could only be worn by the wife of the territory lord. They exchanged their rings, and their wedding was complete. They're married! So I guess everybody else is still there watching and everything. Then the pair turned around, faced the packed crowd of guests, and raised their rings high. A thunderous applause rang out for them. As a memorial to this night's events, the great territory lord will now recognise the accomplishments of certain people. Let those called come forward. At Battler's nod, Beto read the name of the first guest to be recognised. Cannon, come forward. He did a good job in this one. Cannon-kun? A girl goat pushed her way through the crowd, took off her mask, and yelled. A cloud of gold butterflies gathered before Battler and Beto, and took the form of Cannon, kneeling in front of these two nobles. Cannon had already died and vanished. However, all the dead revived in the Golden Land. Cannon, right here. When my husband was locked up and in danger, you rescued him and displayed your capability for self-sacrifice by choosing to remain in that eternal prison in his place. Such devotion is deserving of an award. Therefore, we will allow for your resurrection as well as your continued service. Yes, ma'am. I'm honoured and delighted. Cannon-kun. Yoshia-kun. Yoshia-kun. Jessica raced forward and landed sobbing in Cannon's chest. Cannon patted her head gently and held her. You won't be serving as furniture. You'll be serving as a human. Do you understand what that means? Yes. After glancing at Jessica sobbing, he looked at Battler again and nodded forcefully. Now for the next pair. Ashurmaya George and Shannon. Come forward. Yes. George and Shannon were the next to be called. Perhaps they had already readied themselves. They walked forward boldly and kneeled. Ashurmaya George, right here. Shannon, right here. You two withstood Zephyr and Furfur's trials until the very end. Your great achievements in affection, determination and nobility were exemplary and deserving of an award. I find it strange they don't go, sometimes when they don't go all the way through the Twilights. Like obviously it mentioned the later Twilights when they were shooting at the closet, but it's not quite the same. Therefore, your marriage certificate has been issued with the Territory Lord's signature. We are honoured and delighted. No one will be allowed to object to the certificate. Let the families of those recognised bless their union with all their hearts. Ah, good for them. And so, now that there's nothing stopping these two, let's all throw rice at them and celebrate. Okay. Hey, congrats you two. Is that a thing in Japan? Do they throw rice at people? When the Territory Lord clapped his hands in celebration, it spread throughout the entire cathedral. Then a group of goats in the front line of the crowd took their masks off one by one. Listen up, okay? I'll never forgive you if you make too much salty miso soup. And George is getting a little overweight, so go easy on the sugar. George, when a man gets married, he's got to treasure his wife even more than his parents. No matter what your mother says, you make sure you protect Shannon-chan. Yes, of course. George-san. Anyway, George needs to be asleep by 7. 7? Jesus! I'll never forgive you if you let him stay up late. And don't forget that washing his back and cleaning his ears are also a wife's responsibilities. Is that true? What have I done? A wife's job can vary, depending on the family. Yeah. Rudolph-san, have you been treasuring your wife? Of course. Why would you doubt that? Find happiness, you two. Marriage isn't the goal. It's just the starting line, okay? Whoa. Congratulations, congratulations. All the dead people are back. Hey, you! Congratulations. We mustn't lose either. Yeah, no way we're losing. Damn it. All the Ashurmaya family, all the servants, and all the spirits and demons in attendance celebrated the honorees with an even greater applause. And so, the curtain closes on the tale woven by the Golden Witch. Perhaps we should finish this tale with the epitaph. Okay. The following is the passage of the Golden Land, from the epitaph of the Golden Witch. The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures. One shall be all the gold from the Golden Land. One shall be the resurrection of all the dead souls. One shall be the resurrection of the love that was lost. One shall be to put the witch to sleep for all time. Sleep peacefully, my beloved witch, Beatrice. Aww. Nice happy ending. So this means Beto was satisfied and put to sleep? That interpretation is probably appropriate. And, now that the game's over, Oni-chan will be released, right? What will he do next? Who knows? The book of this fragment tells no more of the story. So in the end, we don't even get to see what comes next for him. Nothing comes next for him. In the end, Oni-chan and the others never came back. They reached the Golden Land and had a great time together there. Even if the tale tells us that, the truth is that everyone died in that huge accident. Still, we've learned a lot of very interesting things. It seems that island really was a crazy island of illusions. Indeed. And your reading was truly wonderful. I feel worn out, like watching a 6-hour movie all at once. 6-hour movie? I'm tired. Ashurmaya Angie, you truly have worked hard. Your reading has soothed my boredom. I, Featherin, am more grateful to you than I have been for so many years that I cannot remember. If you're grateful, why can't I have some kind of award too? Won't be good. Give me some time. I will think. Featherin sat down in her rocking chair and rocked it, apparently trying to think of something. Ashurmaya Angie, you really have worked hard. You've done well to keep reading for me until the end. With this, your responsibilities as my Miko are lifted, so she won't be back in the next episode, or in the next arc as this sort of character. You may return to your original world and be reunited with the fate you have been given. Sheesh. Feels like this was one hell of a side trip. Do not pout. I'm thinking of a reward now. Yes, that's something I haven't done much. Or rather, at all, for quite some time. I imagine the ink from the bottle has dried up by now. Even after the tale ended, Angie and Hichijo's debate over it continued for quite some time. It had been very serious and fiery, and she had acknowledged that this tale was no crazy literary work, but a new message bottle which had drifted here once more from the Rokkanjima of 12 years previous, to tell her of one truth, and it seemed as though she had found her own interpretation of the truth she thought the tale was trying to tell. Of course, that was only one truth, and it did not mean an end to her journey. However, maybe it can be viewed this way. It wasn't sufficient to fill the 12-year gap in her heart. However, at that moment, just enjoying the feeling along with the bit of coffee Hachijo had made was enough. This feels most like a tea party then, when they're sitting around drinking. Thank you for reading until the end, and thank you for your thoughts and opinions. I'm sure the very first Endless Witch is happy. Wow, so you can bring yourself to say stuff like that. If you just talked like that from the beginning, you'd have tons more fans. I am merely praising the wonderful reader that you most certainly are. I just wanted to say that spending the time I have left in my life writing for you alone was much more productive than writing for those pigs who do not talk and cannot think would have been. That's just the kind of thing you'd be better off not saying. Well, I'll take it as a compliment. Okay. I get the feeling that I've spent a really, really long time here. It feels as though I've spent a major fraction of my life here. Though it should feel uncomfortable sitting here on a sofa in someone else's house. For some strange reason, it feels as familiar as my own home. However, the clock says it's only about 2 or 3 hours since I met her. My sense of time feels very strange. Your friend seems to be taking his time. It must be a long phone call. It's creepy for a guy to talk that long on the phone. He said he was going to make a scheduled report to Okanagi-san, didn't he? Even though he was told that he could use the phone here, he declined and went to look for a public phone somewhere. Something about how he didn't want to risk being bugged. He's a moron, so I'll let him do what he wants. Is the nearest public phone far? If you go out onto the street, there's a store on the corner a short ways down. Then I'll be on my way. You can use this to pay for food or whatever. If I let you keep that money, will you come again, read my next manuscript, and tell me your opinions? You willing to pay rolls of money to get an uncute girl like me to read your manuscript? No. You really were a good, clear-thinking reader. You create these tales and throw them out into the world in search of people like you. You praise me too much. I just take books a little too seriously. As thanks for the considerable time you have given to me, I will someday write your tale. Am I going to appear in one of your forgeries again? I hope you kill me in a slightly better way this time. Yeah. Do you like miracles? You mean like a Deus Ex Machina plot development? I used to hate them, but recently I've become a big fan. Still, I've become a bit of a picky eater, and simply falling from a skyscraper and ending up unharmed doesn't quite qualify as a miracle to me anymore. Then perhaps one day I will write a tale that you will consider a miracle. I'm really sorry for barging in all of a sudden and saying all kinds of mean things. No, it was a worthwhile conversation. I wonder if my head editor will set up another meeting between the two of us. Sure, if there's another chance for one. See you again. Have a nice day. Yes, it may happen again sometime. We've got another 2 arcs to go, so you never know. I pray that you find your truth. Thank you. If you ever do reach a truth of your own, please try making that a tale as well someday. You want me to become one of your witches? I wonder. I'm bad at writing. A good reader isn't necessarily a good writer, you know. Quite true. I myself can never read anything written by anyone else. Sheesh. Yeah, like, I love reading, but I can't write a story to save my life. Then I'm off. After this, I will probably never see you again. But I pray I will be fortunate enough to meet you, to meet another you someday, somewhere. I wonder. Can I ask one last question? Go ahead. That feathering witch who appeared within the tale. That's you, right? It may be presumptuous to say it, but that was my intention. This might be a strange question, but you feathering, or is feathering you? Well now, what might you be talking about? That mysterious woman was mysterious to the last. And so, the day of which I had no... Bold? Come in? The day of which I had no memories ended, and on the following day, I would take a boat to Najima. I'll probably never meet her again. However, that just means that I won't meet her, so some other me might meet her somewhere down the road. Just as I have reached several truths, they must also want to reach the truth. So long, Feathering. If I ever write a decent story, please call me again. If I'm free, I might drop by. Ooh, what's this? Ah, is it by the payphone? No problem. It's the most luxurious escort job I've had yet. I'd almost like to invite you along, sir. I'll take a pass on that. You know how old I am. I'm done running around all over the place. The person on the other end of the line was Okanagi. Okanagi was also a man who tended to move from place to place, so it hadn't been easy to catch him even on the phone. Our trip's been pretty cool, and right now, there's no need to run around. Sumadira Kasumi is searching for you like mad. According to our informants, she's already gotten a ride to Rokkanjima. You'll bump into her there. So just as planned, it'll likely be just 5 or 6 people at most, and they'll probably be armed with nothing more than handguns. They're no match for you. Feel free to run wild, but make sure you kill them. You're able to acquire one of your favourite toys? Of course. I'm surprised you managed to arrange for it in this country. Behind Damakusa was the rental car that they'd borrowed under a false name, inside of which was now a black golf bag. The Sumadira head family has already given the okay, but make sure you get out of Japan as soon as you're done. Don't forget to buy your cup ramen by the box in Narita before your flight out. I'll take care this time. It's an easy job. Also, you do understand about that, right? That? No, I'm not sure what you mean. Plain dumb, are we? Ah, that's okay. Despite how you talk, you've never betrayed my expectations in the past. If you're clever about it, you won't even have to get your hands dirty. There should be plenty of ways to handle it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I realise that Angie-chan's a child to be pitied. If only she could have stayed true to that and acted the part of a secluded young lady. When we decided to join forces after Eva-san's death, we reached an agreement. This little portable shrine of ours is important, but she's also a liability. This is for the sake of world peace as well, okay? So watch and see how it goes. I hope those Sumadira black suits know how to shoot a gun right. What is it, sir? Don't tell me that, after a few days on the run, you and Angie-chan have already hooked up. Huh? Me and that bratty little girl? Please. Well, it's not like I care. It just means you've finally managed to break free enough that you can take passes at girls, right? Half the world is made up of women. You'll never last if just 1 or 2 of them make you freeze up. Oh, speak of the devil. She's here. Guess that's all for today. I'll contact you after I reach our lodgings on Najima. Later. Angie was walking down the street. Why'd she have to do that when I told her to wait for me to come back? If only she wasn't like this, she might have lived a long life. That was a pretty long call. I was so tired of waiting that I left. Sorry about that. How was it for you, lady? Did you learn anything interesting? It was interesting. I've harvested all I need. Yeah, sounds cool. After Amakusa opened the passenger's side door, Angie got in the car. Amakusa quickly went around to the driver's seat. Then let's head to the harbour. According to the old man, the Sumadira family has set up a net. If we do get caught, then that's the measure of my luck. If we don't, then Rokkanjima is waiting for me. Let's leave it all to luck. Luck, is it? When you can't decide what to do, or when it doesn't matter either way. It's not so bad to entrust your fate to a coin toss. Then I guess I'll try leaving it to luck too. I've got to admit, I'm a fan of that kind of thing. Great, my bodyguard just said he's going to leave everything to luck. Wonderful. I had to leave for that phone call, so I totally missed the clincher. What happened after I left? Let's hear it. No, I'm not telling. That's a shame. The car dashed through the hilly town. That car wouldn't return to Hichijo's house for all eternity. However, Angie didn't get sentimental about it. For now, she just wanted to silently consider the new message bottle that the current endless witch, Hachijo Toya, had given her. In the rearview mirror, the town where a witch lived faded off into the distance. However, that scene wasn't reflected in Angie's eyes. Aww. Is that the tea party done? That was a short tea party if it was. Have they all been that short? I can't even remember. Okay, So, an achievement reflection. Okay, so she's left there and she's heading towards Rockinjima and all that. I think that's been really short. I think I'll carry on today. We'll finish off this arc. Oh, didn't mean to do that. We'll finish this arc off now. Let's see if we can actually go on to... No, we still can't go on to the next episode until we've read everything. Episode 6. Let's go. I'm not under the impression this will still be short. You never know, see. It's too random. Lambda, where are you? Just having to say that felt like admitting defeat, and I didn't like it. Why is it that she's always so obnoxious and clingy when I don't need her? And then won't answer when I call her name? Where am I? Annoyed by the completely predictable ending, I'd left the cathedral. I planned on finding some terrace with a cool night's breeze to kill time on until the end of that farcical reception. It's true that I tried to find somewhere desolate so that I wouldn't have to look at people. But this is a bit ridiculous. I, the Great Burnt Castle, am lost? A miracle like that certainly wouldn't happen. Yes, miracles don't exist in this world. To create a miracle, you need an amount of time that can never be reached, a period that's no different from infinity. So when something that appears to be a miracle happens in a shorter span of time than that, it's not a miracle, but the product of someone's design. In other words, the reason I'm walking down this corridor is because someone's design has forced me here. Who? Who would have pulled such a complicated prank on me? Looks like you're quite the shy one, calling me out to a desolate place like this. Then from the other end of the dark corridor, I heard a sound. Patter, 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 patter. It sounded as though some small animal, like a dog or cat, was walking at a quick pace. No miracle could cause a dog or cat to be in a place like this. Such a miracle would not be allowed. Since it isn't a miracle, that means I'm being guided in that direction. Very well. This might be some new theme to keep me entertained. If this is some new joke Lambda's, I'll cover her whole body with honey using my tongue as a reward. And then I'll stick parasol chocolates into her eyes and tell her to never do it again. In the direction the noise had come from, it was not only dim, but shrouded in complete darkness. However, I could sense something in that darkness. Ooh, that's a new picture. There were two emerald green glints, probably cat eyes. The eyes of a black cat that peered through the darkness. You the one who called me here? Or are you just the messenger? Ooh. When I looked at my feet, I saw red cat footprints leading towards those cat eyes. The marks were unsettling, as though the cat had run through a pool of blood. When my eyes adjusted to the darkness, then even with the lack of light, I was vaguely able to make out those red footprints. They weren't actually glowing or anything, but they served perfectly well as a signpost leading me onwards. Patter, 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 patter. As though it was telling me to follow, the cat turned around and dashed off into the darkness. What is it? Something feels very strange. It's a feeling I haven't felt since I began calling myself the cruelest witch in the world. I can't quite remember what this feeling is. Still, for one as tired of boredom as me, it's surely more fun this way. I followed the bloody footprints of the cat, which would sometimes stop and look back at me, and walked on and on through the dark corridor. Forward, turn, head down what appeared to be stairs from time to time, and then, though I couldn't really tell because of the darkness, it went in through the crack of a door. Here? I pushed the door open slowly, but it was dark on the inside, just like the corridor. However, the air and the slight change in the echoes made by the footsteps told me that this was a room, not a corridor. The sounds of the cat's footsteps were gone. However, the bloody footprints remained. On the other side of some sort of wooden screen, and what looked like a small spotlight, there was that same black cat gobbling down some blood-stained pet food. I see. So this is its reward for bringing me here. Cat, sorry to bother you during your meal, but I'd like you to summon your master. That is, unless you're actually the one who summoned me. Talking to it didn't cause it to turn around. Well, I guess it's an animal eating its food. If I kick it away, it'll probably run off to its owner. When I did kick the cat, it sailed away like a stuffed animal, hit the wall and fell to the ground. Then it vanished, melting into the darkness. What's with this cat? Is it just an illusion? When I looked at its food plate, it was piled up with what appeared to be blood-drenched raw meat. It was as though someone had torn apart living flesh on the spot and piled it up on there. Come on, what's with the creepy reception? That was a mean thing to do, kicking it. The instant I heard that voice, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Then, the surrounding area finally brightened. However, Burncastle had already guessed where there was before it grew bright. Oh, she's there. It's feathering. Is it feathering? It is. That was you, was it not? That cat. A cat who has learned how to eat meat, and that it can sometimes choose its own path. It's been a long time. It's a path I might never have had to know about if you hadn't told me. You're the monster who taught me the taste of flesh. So you've come back to life? Feathering Aurora? Augustus Aurora. You never learn, no matter how often I tell you that. Very well. Even that brings back fond memories. I've heard the rumours. It seems you have taken the name Burncastle, Witch of Miracles, and been playing a far from praiseworthy fragment game. I'm just imitating you, though I could hardly match up to your level. If the rumours you've heard about me are bad, that applies 100-fold to you. Burncastle sat unreservedly in an antique chair, as though she was already familiar with the place. What are you afraid of? I'm merely celebrating my reunion with my longest-serving Miko so far. Did you really find my messenger card so displeasing? Burncastle's manner seemed completely relaxed. However, Feathering admonished her, telling her not to be afraid. And judging by the expression that had risen to Burn's face, Feathering had been right on the mark. Did you really have to make such blunt insinuations against me? A cat leaving behind bloody footprints and stuffing its face with blood-stained meat? Have no fear. Look closely. Do you see any cat stuffing its face with meat? I just gave it a plate of biscuits as a reward for going to get you. Oh, damn, biscuits. It was as though soot covering the plate at her feet was blown away, even though there was no wind. There lay an adorable and perfectly normal cat dish, with a pile of small biscuits on top of it. Burncastle didn't even hide her displeased grimace. Feathering shrugged and muttered, "You haven't changed, child of man," as she rocked her rocking chair. I see you're as unpleasant as ever. But I'm happy now. Imitating you really has been far from boring. Scold me as you please. It's the parting gift I gave you when we last met. You liked rude Mikos because they kept you entertained, right? Ridiculous. If talking will only please you, I'll shut up. So, what you want with me? It seems Beatrice's game has ended with Battler's victory. I observed it. It was quite entertaining. I'm sure you liked seeing me fail miserably. Nonsense, it was a splendid performance. I'm sure Beto is very grateful to you. And, if you want me to read the fragments of Beto's game aloud for you, I refuse. I'm not your Miko anymore. I've observed all of Beto's games. I also watched Lambda Delta's game and Battler's game with great interest. I believe I have formed an answer for all the riddles in my own way. The culprit, the motive, the individual tricks. I'm not yet clear about the very last part of the epitaph's riddle, but I have enough of a theory that if I actually went to Rokkenjima and investigated, I should be able to resolve that part as well. And, of course, since there is no single truth, my theory is probably only one of many possibilities. However, that's only a question of possibilities, a trivial problem. What are you up to? Do you want to debate Beto's game with me? Wrong. What I want is to look at the answers, child of man. Those words of Feathering's made Burncastle straighten up. Her old master did not fail to notice that small reaction. So far, you have spiced up this tale as an actor. In doing that, you've probably come to know many truths. However, even you are unaware of the truth behind several riddles that Beto has cleverly kept hidden, correct? I see. You want to use me to chew apart and string out the guts of something again? After watching a play, reading the pamphlet and learning what goes on behind the scenes is similar to, as you would say it, enjoying some black tea after a meal. Enjoyment cannot be left undone. You like to play with them and love them while they're alive, then eat their flesh when they die. So cats are doubly useful to you. Just die, monster. I want to look at the answers. I'm sure you want to know them. Think of it as a burial for Beto's corpse, where you're in charge of the service. What do you say to that, child of man? Now you're starting to speak my language. When Featherin snapped her fingers, a thin spotlight appeared on the table, which was covered with cluttered books. There lay a folded version of the game board for Beto's game. The Witch of Theatregoing spun her finger in a circle, and the game board opened up by itself, showing the black and white pieces lined up inside it. The game board and all the pieces are gathered here. The records for the previous games are all present as well. With a rustling sound, the book flipped through all its pages of its own accord, front to back, shut itself and flew to the side of the game board, where it waited. Inside it, all the movements of the pieces during previous games were recorded. I see. So you were short a player and a commentator. You're also short on black tea. Similarly with dried plums. Of course, I will find some. Okay. If you add on some mustard rice cakes, then we have a deal. The negotiations are concluded. I have one condition. Oh, what's that? I'm going to be the reader, okay? I have no love, so a few things might be interpreted in an odd way. However, the reader is free to read things in a manner and with an intonation of her own choosing. I only want to check the answers. I don't particularly care about the tale itself. I'm not deeply interested in what sort of tale you'll create. Ah, yes. Now I see what you're after. Will you accept that condition? Very well. I want to know the answer. You have your grudge to worry about. The negotiations are concluded. When Featherin snapped her fingers once more, a large chair appeared, as though beckoning Burncastle to sit there. It was a throne, horribly mismatched with the furnishings of this room. Ooh, we get a proper portrait for Battler as the Game Master. Wait, I've seen this before. This is... I acknowledge it. You may sit. You are the Game Master. Well, is Burncastle going to be the Game Master for the next arc? You sure? You really sure? You can create whatever sort of tale you like to satisfy your grudge. I'm not interested. However, I have one condition as well. Answer all the questions I ask. Absolutely no keeping secrets, hiding, or dodging the issues. Leave it to me. Tearing up guts and dragging them out is my speciality. After all, you trained me. Oh, that's interesting. Burncastle's going to be the next Game Master. Let's make some black tea. We'll use our own hands, not magic. Let the Master treat Umineko to some tea. The old Beto told me the witches are the best ones to have black tea with. It seems that rule doesn't apply to us. At some point, that dish piled with biscuits had once again been covered with a mountain of torn apart meat and a splatter of red. No, not just meat, even the bowels. Black tea is best enjoyed with your fellow monsters. Oh wow, I had to listen to the song for a second there. That's really good. Like, I love it when this game goes into lyrics and it's proper witchy and everything. It's a good song. Okay, so the bonus stuff this time, unless it's going to be a bit more after it, but I don't know. It's been really short and to the point this time. So Angia's left as the reader. She's not a Miso anymore. Miko. She has gone to look at the island, which I guess might pick up in the 7th arc, or it might have been implying that No, it'll be the 7th arc, and I was gonna say maybe it was implying they was going back and she was going to the island, like she did in a previous arc, but I don't know, maybe we'll pick up on that in the 7th arc. And Featherin attracted Castle to have a go at being Game Master and the Reader, so that's going to be an interesting one, because she's a sadistic old bitch. She might not look it that bad, but yeah. I do find it funny how her name is, how her piece's name was Erica, you know, Rika, like from Higurashi, with an E. Ooh, there's more. In that case, let's get the pieces ready. If you keep up the count, this will be a game 7, right? Yep. Indeed. A fortuitous number. But not for Vito, right? Castle slowly picked up a black piece. It was the piece that represented Beatrice. It was sometimes a king, sometimes a queen, could become a knight. However, that was only if it got promoted. Until then, it was only a trash piece, like a pawn. First comes the placing of the pieces. By this point, the witch's game has already begun. Castle took Beato's piece and raised it high. First move, placement. Beatrice on D8. When the seagulls cried, there were no survivors. Ooh, okay. Achievement, monsters. Addition of new features. The Golden Witch has prepared a gift for you in commemoration of your stay. You can find these new features on the title screen. What's that implying? Is there more? No, not there. Not there. Is it just the next arc? Is that was? As added the episode 6 tips, I think, which... let's have a look. Yeah, episode 7's unlocked, so we'll have a look at that. I don't know when. So this will go up on, what's the date today? I think it's the 4th. Yeah, the 4th of April, 2023. So this will go up on the 5th. And then there'll be a bit of a gap when, hopefully, my game will come in the post. I've had an email saying it's left. It should come within the next week or so, hopefully. Until then, I don't know what we're going to do. I'm waiting for 2 more games. 1 game to arrive that's already out, and 1 game to be released. And both of those I want to do series on. So, I don't know. I don't want to start the next arc of this yet, because the game might come while that's happening. Yeah, you know. But anyways, that's Umineko for now. I could start up the next arc anytime, to be honest. I don't know what's going to happen with the games that are being released and stuff. So, it's been GreenyXI. I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in a bit for the next Let's Play. Again, it might be this. It might be another game. Thanks again for watching, folks. See you again in a bit.